It's time for the Alamo City Golf Tour Power Hour, featuring Travis Salkowski, Dustin Hassan, Casey Graham, Jason Bird, and Mike DerManuelian. Let's go.
Good evening, Alamo City Golf Tour. Welcome to the ACGT Tour Power Hour, episode 33. We are back. I know we missed last week. Obviously, the playoffs going on. It's a crazy time. Lots of stuff going on in the background. So we did have to miss a week, but super glad to be back and really ready to get back on the air with you guys. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Obviously, playoffs have come to an end. It has been an intense couple of weeks, and those players who have spent all year working towards it, we had a couple of people who showed up really well, and we have a new tour champion. We have a top 10. We have a new South Texas match play team, and we'll talk about that and all the stuff that happened over the last 2 weeks. Really excited to talk to you about all that. So before we jump into it all, let's go ahead and let's bring out a couple of our friends here. First and foremost, we're going to bring out Dustin Hassan.
What is happening, ACGT Tour golfers? Good evening. Happy Tuesday. MD, always a pleasure. Good to see you after missing last Tuesday, but ready to talk playoff results.
Ready?
South Texas Match Play Challenge team. Top 10. Horse race. So much has gone on. I'm ready to dive in.
It has been a jammed-packed couple of weeks. Lots of golf, lots of good golf, and it's been awesome. And we'll talk more about it. But God damn, what a great way to finish on Sunday.
It was.
So we'll dive more into that. Next up, let's bring out Casey. Let's bring out Casey Graham. What's going
up,
on,
everybody?
buddy?
Yeah, been a long time. Softball got canceled today, so we'll go make a live appearance.
There we go. Excited to have you on. For those of you out there, you're used to seeing the face of myself, MD. You're used to seeing DH. We have gotten Casey on a few times, but not as often as we like. Super excited that he's here. We may see Travis later on. Travis is actually at Disney right now with the family. Literally, what time did we leave on Sunday, Casey? We finished up at like
8:30.
Yeah, 8:30 in the dark. We're finishing packing up everything. Travis is like, all right, I got to go home. I got to get some sleep. I got to be up at like 5 a.m. to get on a flight.
Yeah, he was immediately after.
And he's trying to be as good about not getting on his phone as he can. He texted me at probably 7 o'clock last night and sending me pictures of stuff from the Lego store. He's given his number to the guy at the Lego store. He's like, if you get a Star Destroyer in from Star Wars, the guys told him that they were expecting it, so he's waiting. But hopefully we'll have Travis join, and I think Jason's on his way. He's Jason's just a working machine these days. We're all
we're kind of buying time from him, to be honest.
Yes.
I don't know if he's charged y'all, but I've been slipping him some under the table, so it's getting expensive on my end, all right?
Yeah, he's expensive, Casey. He's expensive, man.
Oh, my God.
Charges like an IT guy.
I've read his info to me is just usually you can't afford me, MD. You just can't afford me. I'm like,
right
you
to
are
the
probably
point.
Right.
Right to the point.
Fair. Well, guys, let's dive into. Obviously we didn't get a chance to meet up last week, have this talk, and really get to dive into the tour in week one at Almost. Let's talk a little bit about Almost weekend one. Obviously, we've seen a lot of rounds at Almost. We've gotten a lot of chances to play it now. Talk me through the weekend. I know all three of us played. All three of us were there. I had an unfortunate early exit out of the playoffs this year. I can tell you, Almost played difficult. But let's talk a little bit about the energy at Almost on Saturday, going into the first round.
I think that you could feel the pressure in the air on Saturday, right? I mean, everyone got there. It's real when you walk onto that golf course day one of the playoffs. There's a lot of talk leading up to it. People they talk a big game, but when you step out of your car and you walk onto that putting green, and you see the tent, you see the ACGT Tour banners, and you realize this is round one of the playoffs now. One of the things you immediately notice, one of the things that I immediately noticed was the smaller field. We've had sellout fields in every event, 120, 125 people. Now with the playoffs coming in, it's an invite-only field. And so that's the first thing I noticed. Number one, smaller field, but people were a lot more hungry, I thought. So that you could cut the tension in the air with a knife on Saturday.
Yeah, I honestly, I was really, really not surprised by it, but just because there's so many more people, so much more going on, and we're not, let's face it, it was just far more intense than it's been in previous years, but it made it super exciting. And you kind of knew you had to, there were some people who said, and we kind of talked about it leading up to it, was I'm not concerned about day one and day two. If I can get through day one and day two, get to the weekend, second weekend, things will line up. We'll dive into it more as we go here, but what we're going to see is some of the people who finished in the top 10, and it was a very narrow margin of victory to make the top 10. All the people who won Saturday managed to pull off a spot in the top 10. And without that first win, it's a different story. That might be a horse race that may be completely out of it. So it was an intense couple of days of golf. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I have to kind of I don't know, when Dustin had said that mindset that a lot of players thought that they might be able to just cruise through that first weekend, I think I would probably fall into that category, that I'd try to just cruise in. But I think with the amount of people that we had this year, was it 93 players that signed up this year, record for us for the tour playoffs. I think there was just a lot. There's a lot more golfers for the playoffs. We're used to just having 65, 75, 80. And, those point spreads aren't as great. But when you get 93, you start dipping into the 9th place gross, the 9th place nets, and 10th place gross. And those points start to differ if you play 2 lax on that first weekend. But I could tell just by going out on the putting green that it wasn't just your typical stroke play event. There wasn't as much chatter as much, there was people trying to focus in and trying to zero in every last minute before they teed off. And you could really see that.
Yeah. It was, again, I think it was just a lot more intense. I even felt it at San Pedro, just practicing and warming up. And, you and I were at the range the night before, and I was kind of surprised, for us to be there at, what time were we there? Like 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anyone there, honestly. I'm like, I would have guessed we were going to have a lot of people there practicing, getting ready. And I didn't see a lot of people. And I'm like, this is a little bit more relaxed than I'm used to seeing. I was surprised. But getting there first thing in the morning, everyone's out there. Everyone's just headphones on, locked in. There's not a lot of socializing on the range. It is between, practice and 18th hole. I don't know you. I'm not talking to you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little bit more cutthroat in the playoffs, right? A little bit more cutthroat.
But it was, it was a lot of fun. And I think in all honesty, let's talk a little bit about the course itself. Let's talk about the course setup and talk about the whole deal there. Who we got? We got Jay Bird.
Hey,
what's up, JB?
Jay Bird, gracing us with his presence.
It's always
that looks like a
good to see
recording
you, sir.
from last week.
It certainly does. Jay Bird, what's the word?
Not much. How you guys doing?
We are doing good.
Good to see you, buddy.
What's up, man?
mean, Bird, talk to us a little bit. So we just dove through a little bit more about Olmos that weekend. Talk to me a little bit about the general vibe of week one.
Man, I went into that wanting to play as best I could. Everyone was super serious on the range. The vibe was it was, first and foremost, it's a competitive series. So everyone's trying to win. Everyone's trying to do their best. The focus is definitely on the golf that weekend heavily. I told somebody, I was like, yeah, your average regular season event might be 60-40 competitive competition versus social hour. But when we get to the playoffs, it is like 95-5. Like it shifts. And as every round comes and goes, it gets closer and closer to 100. And then, I love that atmosphere. So even though I was eliminated, I was out there all Sunday because that atmosphere is intoxicating to me.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, how did you feel about the course itself? Again, we know what Olmos is. We know how it's going to play. As far as the course itself, I mean, harder than usual, neutral. How did that feel?
Almost?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I thought almost. I thought the greens were a little bit like more playable in the playoffs than they were for the PC Open. They weren't as fast. They were a little bit slower. I just didn't play well. I mean, I thought the course was more player friendly this time around. I thought in the PC Open and previous tournaments, I thought the greens were just absolute hellfire.
I'd have to agree with you. I thought almost played slightly easier than when we played it in the PC Masters or the PC Open. I'm sorry, excuse me. I mean, but it's still hard as hell out there, and if you haven't played a ton of practice rounds out there, you're still trying to figure out the greens, and trying to figure out the greens in the playoffs ain't the right time.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that they tried to water the greens a little bit. They were a little bit softer than they had been in previous weeks, PC Open for sure. But to me, it didn't make it that much easier. I mean, there were some gettable pins, but if you missed greens, which was kind of my problem from Saturday to Sunday. Saturday, I was hitting greens. I was putting a little, okay. Sunday was the complete opposite. I was missing greens and not getting up and down, and that is just not going to get the job done at Olmos. You got to leave yourself in a good spot if you're missing greens out there. You can't short side yourself. I don't care where those pins are. If you short side yourself,
short side is usually dead.
And putt.
I would completely agree. I found, in all honesty, I mean, I didn't get anything going. Like I kind of sat there that entire weekend. I came in feeling good. And I really just never found the rhythm. I think that was my biggest issue. Is the rhythm never came to me, and I didn't make putts. My wedges were meh at best, and I was kind of just. I mean, it was a frustrating weekend. The course I didn't think played overly difficult. I think it was just a mix of maybe just nerves, but then also it's just one of those things. Sometimes you just have an off weekend, but I mean that's not a golf course that forgives you for feeling that way or for having.
You can be
that
a little
issue.
bit off at your river sides. You can spray it a little bit. You can miss greens. Olmos is not one of those courses. I agree with you, MD. I mean, if you're just a little bit off in one facet of your game, or if you're off in a couple facets of your game, I mean, you can kiss it goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, it was frustrating, but I didn't think the course played overly difficult. I didn't think it was a disservice to the tour, to the players that were playing, and I felt that it was all very, very reasonably well laid out. Even the pins, I was pleasantly surprised. There could have been far worse pins.
Yeah, I mean, we still had under par rounds, in Champ Flight, gross scores. So, it was still gettable. There was a 4-under shot on Sunday. Trevor Bailey. I can't remember what the Saturday final score was, but
I think he tied 68. Was it?
Did he? So
yeah,
it was. So I mean, obviously, if you had your stuff, it was there to go get.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a difficult golf course as always, but I don't think it played overly challenging for the weekend. But at the end of the day, there are some people who said, I can coast, or there were people who weren't as necessarily worried. Casey and I can easily say we knew we were in for at least getting to that Sunday. I wanted to go out and win. I wanted to put on a good round. I did not on Saturday. Sunday, I knew I was a little bit more in the hot seat. I was halfway through my round, and I'm like, I don't know where the cut line is, but I sure as shit know I'm dancing with it.
I was going to say, you didn't know where the cut line was, but you remember where you parked.
Yeah. I had talked to Travis like halfway through the round. I think I had talked to Travis like at halfway through the round. And I said, unless I get my shit together, I'm 100% missing the cut. And he's like, no, don't worry about it, all this and that. And yeah, half a point.
Half a point.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was a half. That's right.
And we have talked, and it.
I'm sorry.
We have sat there and talked for freaking weeks. Every point matters. Every point matters. Scotty Williams walks up to me Sunday at Brack and goes, "Hey, MD, I guess it's every half point matters." And I'm like, "You mother."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's not inaccurate,
man.
but damn, I'm like, I tell you what, he gave me an exact week to get over it. If he had told me that anytime sooner, I might have busted a leg. Like I told him, I'm like, you're lucky the regeneration period for me was like a week to cool down.
We would have needed the first alternate for sure.
Like easily first alternate. Like first time in 10 years someone's been taken off in handcuffs and in a freaking ambulance.
Scotty Williams.
But yeah, it was man, almost played tough. But everything kind of played out how it was. We went through the cuts and then we roll into weekend 2, which is by far the toughest weekend of golf on tour by far.
Yeah, even though we're playing at Brack, that weekend is still tough.
And that golf
the pressure just builds and builds.
And to that end, I mean, weather conditions even played a fun little role in it too. If you look at how the wind and that stuff kind of played out as the storms were getting ready to roll in for Monday. Sunday at Brack was windy. I didn't get to hang out. I didn't stay. I was in there in the morning to watch some tee shots on Saturday. But came Sunday, obviously, to be there to support. Was on the bag for Micah Carroll. And man, that wind was no joke. That was, first flight definitely saw the results of that. And Champ Flight had some really great rounds of golf for all things considered. Champ Flight was super fun to watch. But
yeah, gentlemen, I have a special breaking news announcement. I have confirmed that Facebook Live is having a global outage right now. So all our viewers are on YouTube, and this is being recorded. All our YouTube viewers, if you know someone who usually watches the stream but isn't, get them the link to YouTube because it is currently working just fine on YouTube.
Hey, Bird, do you mind posting the YouTube link to Facebook?
I'm doing that right now.
Perfect. I am. Shout out to the Graphs. Thank you for your viewership. And big shout out, congratulations. We'll get to it as we go here, but Morgan Graff finishing in 6th place in the playoffs this year. She is the first female golfer to make the South Texas match play team. I knew we were going to talk about that. I wore my favorite sweater, my LPGA sweater representing women's golf. Love it. So congrats. Thank you, guys. I know Greg's out there watching, too. I anticipate we will see Greg at the South Texas match play on the bag for his daughter. That'll be a good time. So let's talk a little bit about Brack. Obviously, so Casey and DH, you guys were playing. You guys are in the mix Saturday. Talk us through the vibes on Saturday. We know kind of what it felt like going out there Saturday at almost. What was the vibe like for Sunday or for Saturday at Bracknell?
Go ahead, DH.
Well, for me personally, I played terrible round 2 on Sunday.
Who'd you play with?
And I on Sunday at Almas or Saturday at Brack?
No, Saturday.
Let's talk Saturday.
Saturday at Brack, I played with. Who did I play with? Jeremy Jeremio and Jonathan Aiken. So it was a threesome. And I walk in. I felt, when I see the pairing come out, I feel great. I'm like, okay, Jeremy's great dude, easy to play with. Great player. Goes about his business. And Jonathan, I play with him in every 2-man, so I felt very comfortable when I saw the pairing. However, when I saw my position and how I plummeted after last Sunday at Almas going into Saturday, took some of the comfort out of it. I mean, just a rock straight to the bottom. I went from 24 to 45. So I started on Saturday at Almas in 45th out of 54 spots, knowing that only 36 are going to make it to Sunday. So I knew I had to go in there. There's no BSing around. You're gonna have to get the job done. And started out great. Birdied 1, birdied 3. I'm 2 under through 3, feeling great. Kind of stumbled a little bit, made a 3-putt bogey on 8. Blast my tee ball out of bounds on 9 and make triple bogey. Finished the back 9 and even par, shoot 73, and just wasn't good enough. We had
even par
6,
8, 6.
It was. We had 7. I think it was 7 under par rounds, gross rounds in Chant Flight. 73 was good enough for 5th net.
That might have been like 9th gross.
Watching the scoreboard, I was at home watching the scoreboards, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm glad I didn't make it. I would have been in Champ Flight, and I would have played my heart out for even, and I would have been knocked out just as quick.
Even par gets you nothing. I mean, it's good. It was
not a brag.
There's nothing more beautiful than that, because it speaks to the elevated level of competition that this tour has acquired over the last 18 months. It used to be
a player. I mean, that's shown up this year as just through the roof every week. There's no week off. And when you get to the playoffs, you're right, MD. I mean, it's just magnified. Those players that are laser focused week in and week out, it only intensifies in those playoffs, especially talking round 3 and round 4. I mean, you can see the finish line. You know what's at stake, and good players like that. You look at your Sean Vidals, you look at your Steven Evans. They don't make many mistakes, and they put themselves in a good position, and that's what it takes.
And someone called out, you can tell there's no favoritism on tour, because all 4 of these guys on camera right now couldn't fucking get to Sunday.
Who said that? Gosh.
I played Brad on Sunday.
Correct.
Does that count?
You did technically play Sunday with Brad.
Right?
I was there.
I was there Sunday. Come on.
The atmosphere on Sunday, I couldn't miss it. I got there early, played the back 9. I tell you what, the greens at Brack are still currently just absolutely amazing.
They were phenomenal. Phenomenal on Saturday. They were, I thought, as I've seen them in a long time, and they rolled great. They were receptive. I thought the greens were absolutely fantastic.
Talking about greens being receptive, putts dropping. Shout out David Thomas. Great weekend. Welcome to the South Texas Match Play team. We'll dive more into where David kind of came in all of that. Spoiler alert.
There's no spoilers.
Oh, look at this. We got Steven Evans.
Yeah,
So
we got
good,
people.
Steven.
We got people
Shout out.
trickling
So
in
good.
on the YouTube now.
My YouTube page is about to
Hey,
blow
listen,
up. I'm about to have 10 followers.
This is perfect
Let's go.
because we just forced everybody to create an account.
Yeah, we just forced everyone to make an account.
Yeah, thank you, Facebook Live, for being
I
down.
do want to mention that like when I was playing on Saturday, I was kind of in that same boat with DH where I think I started 27th, I think, on Saturday, right? So that's kind of on that line where you need to play better than middle of the field here today. Well, I played with some great competition, Chris Espinoza, Dustin Weldon, and Jason Sandoval. And I'll be honest, I felt bad for them that they had to play with me that day because I was all over the place. I wasn't making any putts. I was making bogeys and doubles, and I was trying to get out of their way. It was fun to listen in on Sandoval. His dad was caddying for him on Saturday, and man, this is how intense it was getting. It got to where, your normal casual rounds, you usually talk it up in the fairway, walking down or something in the cart. But it seemed like every hole, those two were just back and forth on, this is what I'm going to do. This is the game plan. This is what we're doing. And Casey, I'm sorry, but I don't really have time for you right now. I'm trying to do what I need to do. And I was like, well, I understand that. You're 1 under and I'm +7 after 7 holes. So let me go ahead and be quiet.
Mindset,
I'll just watch.
right?
But yeah, man, I played just good enough for 37th position for that last day. So just like MD
Top 40,
was MD was number 55.
55, baby.
Yeah, number 37 here.
You were first out on Saturday. I was second out on Saturday. I think you were out by.
I was first out. Jason was Jason first out Saturday?
No.
First out Saturday.
No, I was out by a mile.
Oh. Okay. So I was.
I
first
was like,
out
I was
first out following Saturday. I mean, but again, I love the level of competition here. It's really helping me plan out getting my handicap up, so I'm not dealing with you guys in another 2 or 3 years.
So is that a tacit admission of sandbaggery?
No, it's a passive admission of trash golf.
I mean, I hate
my
handicap's going.
I
hate it.
I will commit to playing lefties for 2 seasons to get my handicap.
I hate it, Dustin. I hate it.
I hate it. I would like to say, I want to give a shout out for Saturday. If anyone was there on Saturday and saw Bart Wilson and the outfit that he was wearing,
that was
bring him back.
So
old
angry.
Tradition. The knickers, the tie, the flat bill hat.
Yeah, I love that.
I
He
saw
was
him
paying
on
homage
3,
to the
and it was
tradition of
amazing.
Old Brack, and best out the year by far, Bart Wilson, hands down.
Well, best traditional outfit. Let's not jump to dismiss other people's outfits. Some people spent a lot of money this year on outfits.
Some might say that's a problem.
Yes.
I do it for you people because
You people.
I want
you people.
You
Yeah, I mean,
when
I get to a golf
hate
course,
to
I
life
just
out
can't
there.
start golf without seeing what outfit you're playing with. So
there is a regular text between me and Casey because I texted him this morning. I sent him a Roback hoodie that I bought, and I sent him a polo that I bought and said, "Well, you can't have these."
and I added it to the list of not to buy.
Added it to the list of
Just send me that list because that's my buy list.
Yeah, we know.
That is the Jason Bird red pants list.
Yeah, can you put Jason red pants?
Yeah, it's good. We
Bird.
get that. I need that list. I got some clothes to buy.
Like I had to leave my club so I could continue to afford my apparel lifestyle. Cindy's
I wondered about that. I was like, some of those polos are hitting triple dig at MSRP. Like, what? That's an expensive wardrobe.
Well, I mean, I've contacted every single one of these people. I get 30 or 40% off because I wear their stuff and I post on it and shit. So I don't.
Oh, influencing life. I want
I-
to delve into the business of influencing now.
Fun fact, Facebook just sent me a thing about turning my account professional because I've had multiple Facebook reels with over 1,000
Look,
views
if
so
y'all
far.
needed an excuse to go to the restroom, go get a snack or a drink, now's
No,
the time
I-
to do it.
I am.
So you
am
don't have to listen to
interested in
this.
I am interested in MD here being hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored.
I cannot wait to get canceled. It's coming.
No, you can't get canceled now. You're making money.
You should. Well, you should. I just posted something that I'm almost certain I'm going to get a mixed reaction to because it's a video I took of Emma, and I apologize everyone for getting off topic. If you follow me on Facebook, go look at it because it's hilarious. But it was before she could walk, so she couldn't have been. She was maybe 10 months old, 11 months old,
Yes.
and so I have a slice of American cheese. Shout out Kraft. Not a sponsor yet, but we're working on it. And
Kraft
she's,
American cheese, huh? Do you slap her in the face with it?
So I did launch it at her. So she's on the ground crying, and I just with a piece of cheese and just go wow, and she just stops crying and then grabs it and looks at it and looks at me, and I'm like, it's the most amazing. Like, you know what? Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, nice.
But, okay, back to the important things here. Let's get back to Brack. We're back in Brack, baby.
Back to Brack.
So weekend went really well. Lots of great golf.
Lots of low scores on Saturday.
Lots of low scores. I think to me the thing that stands out about that weekend. Let's talk about what is the longest. Let's talk about the longest, maybe hour and a half on tour, which is the process of everyone sitting around waiting for the board to go up. It's two sides. There is.
Listen, that's my favorite hour of the year.
I think it's great. And for those of you who
sucks
don't
for
know,
me though.
There's
a lot of pressure.
With it. For those of you
Okay,
who
we got
don't
through it,
know,
Casey.
I thought it went really well, and it looked great. The whole thing went off without a smash. And for those of you who don't know, for those of you who haven't been there on Sunday and hung around with us as we're kind of tallying up the final points and doing all those kinds of things, there's two different worlds. So there are, we'll call them three different worlds. There are people who played, and they know they're not in it, but they want to stay around, watch what happens, see the horse race, do their thing. Then there are the people who know they're kind of on the verge. Like, did I make it? Did I not? How close am I? There's a lot of people who haven't done serious math in a long time that are really breaking out calculators.
The arithmetics
They're unhiding the calculator app.
You
How
have
do I
people
use this
that
damn
are
thing?
You have people that are just, they've got a whiteboard out, they're doing all the math, they're like breaking it down. And then you have the people who know they're in it. And then I guess there is a fourth group. There is the men behind the tent. So the boards are always blacked out. Again, for those of you who don't know, the boards we have kind of like some shadings up so no one can see. And behind tablecloth, and behind that is some of the biggest crunching time in tour seasons.
Yep.
So you have Jason, you have Casey, you have Dustin sitting back there, and they're just compiling all the points, generating the list, making sure it's all right, because there are people out there who watch it like a hawk and they probably figured it out before we did. Shout out to Laura Lewis. And then it's Travis to write it all, and it has to look beautiful. It has to look perfect. And so everyone is trying to pop their head in. Everyone wants to, where are we at? How's it going? And it's just Travis, just go away. We'll let you know.
Yeah, Travis is the bouncer in the whole thing, because people just can't help themselves. They just want to come back there and be annoying.
And it's very fun, because I had a nice time not having to be concerned about my spot. I knew I was solidified at 56th or 55th.
So relieved for me too.
I mean, I thought
I'm just having a beer. I'm watching. I'm enjoying myself. I have no skin in the race other than just the fact that I'm enjoying watching people. I watched like 3 or 4 people that are like, you know what? I think I'm in the horse race. I'm going to go practice. Disappear. You have other people that are like, I don't think I'm in it. Shout out David Thomas and a couple of beers into his weight. And we get to go through this whole process. Everyone's having a good time. I think that's an underrated moment. And if you don't, even if you get knocked out on Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday before the final day, or if you don't even make it to the playoffs at all, I promise you it's worth your time to just come out for that and for the horse race.
I mean, there's free pizza. I mean, shout out Sean Sexton.
Free pizza and
pizza
beer
for everybody.
Yeah,
Pizza, beer, and wings.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
It was a nice way to wait, and it's always nice to watch people, come in and finish on 18. You're taking little side bets. How many that It was actually, I sat there with Keo, and we were watching just regular play come through, and we're just like, all right, $1, no one hits the green in that group.
Oh yeah,
we're just
degenerate betting happens on all the groups coming in, and then it gets to the last group, and it's like Sando inside 20 feet for $5 or some shit like that. Yeah, and then it's like, yeah, and then someone will be like deep right, and it's just like I got 5 on a 3-putt here, and everyone's just like hanging on everybody's putt over there. Dollars are changing hands over there for sure.
Speaking of, and the best dollars are Bird's dollars. If you can get a dollar from Bird, yeah,
I'm a very selective bettor.
That dollar's worth $2.
Did lose one to me though. I just want to
guys real quick here. Yes. I do want to bring in our friend Travis Salkowski, who's joining us.
I don't see anybody.
I don't see him, but I'm sure we'll hear him. Travis, are you out there?
Hey guys, I have a terrible cell connection, so I'm not going to stay long. But how's everybody doing?
What is happening, bud?
And we are doing good. We are on. It's week 33 of the podcast. We're 40 minutes in. Facebook Live is not working. Only YouTube. And we got
1/4 of our viewers right now. We got 1/4 of them on YouTube.
We're growing the YouTube page right now. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, in and out.
I mean, to be fair, Travis is in Disney World on a much-needed vacation with his family.
Yes.
Travis's family is underrated in the fact that they tolerate a lot of time where Travis is not home. So he's enjoying himself with his family. He don't need to be on here with us chuckle fuckers.
He slept before Monster Day, so I think
I'm
it's
his second
deserved.
family.
I mean, aside from some of the key sponsorships of Ricky Ho and Sean Sexton, I believe the 4 people on the screen might be some of the people he talks to most outside of his family.
Yeah, I talk to Travis about once a month or so.
I mean, I remember, so like when we left on Sunday, yeah, it's the occasional conversation. I left Travis on Sunday, and he's like, I'm not bringing my phone with me. You're not going to hear from me. He's like, you have Sabrina's number. That's the only way you're going to get a hold of me. And I was telling them earlier, Bird.
He tried to say the same thing to me.
6 o'clock, 6:30 yesterday, I get a picture of him at the Lego store.
Fuck yeah.
And he's buying stuff. He's given his number to the guy there saying, if you get this other stuff I want, let me know. I will rush over to get it. Travis is having a good time. I'm actually trying to get I'm going to get this over to the screen real quick because I would love everyone to see it, just because, again, we talk about it so often about Travis and how busy he is, and the man's always running around. Very rarely does he get to take breaks like this. So it's really cool that he's getting this opportunity. He actually just sent this over to me. He and I were kind of talking about it. I told him to send me something. So real quick, shout out to Travis. He's obviously out there with the family right now, having a great time. And hoping he continues to stay disconnected, because it's going to be a busy time when he gets back. And
yes, it is.
Match play team.
He becomes captain.
He becomes
Captain Salkowski.
Captain Commissioner Salkowski.
Captain Commissioner.
Captain Commissioner. So he's going to be busy. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks, and that kind of leads us into, we've talked about, how Brack played, how it looked, the intensity of it. Let's dive into a little bit. Let's talk about kind of the end results here. Let's talk about how that all went. I do want to just address something real quick. To whoever this is.
Chris Espinoza says right in the message.
Oh, it says this is Chris Espinoza. I thought it was someone just calling out Chris Espinoza. I thought it was just another Chris Espinoza fan.
I mean, it's right there for you to read.
Okay, well, I don't read good. It's not my thing.
Hooked on Phonics sounds good for me.
Chris Espinoza, I have the entire schedule. We will be posting that hopefully in the next week or so, so everyone can begin planning their season. I actually went out and bought a 2023 calendar and wrote everything into that calendar and hung it up on the wall, so my wife is well aware these are the off weekends.
And I'll make an iCalendar that I can make a public link for, like every season for the last 4 or 5 years. I know I got a lot of people asking for that calendar. So I mean, we just finalized it, so calm down, people.
I'm just curious if people would buy an ambassador calendar.
I
like me on the bearskin rug in front of like a fireplace.
I think so. I don't know if I'd be posing like that, but you can do whatever you want.
I am 100% in for a calendar. I'm willing to do a full calendar. I'll just give you I'll give you 12 months of pictures. Oh,
I want to know what Travis's pose would be for the calendar.
I love the calendar idea. The boys of the tour.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? This is a little better today.
Each ambassador should have their own calendar.
It's only slightly better. Sounds like you're in a tuna can.
We
love you anyway.
We did have Morgan Graff volunteer to be the official photographer for this.
There we go.
I'll post something out there to the Facebook page. How many people want a calendar of your ambassadors in various attire and looks? And
I'll take December and I'll pose as Santa.
I will take March and I will be a leprechaun. I'm going to lean into it.
I came into the podcast at a weird time, it looks like.
I would like to be Mr. January.
You betcha.
Newborn, I want him.
I want to be the Ice Prince.
I mean, listen, it sounds like we have a new product to sell. I love it. Let's keep up the good work, guys.
It's going to be pretty phenomenal.
Who's going to be May?
I would like to, if I'm going to pick May, I want it to be Micah May.
It's going to be May.
It's going to be May.
It's going to be May.
I want Greg Graff. Let's run through the ambassadors in the months that we think they should be.
Okay, terrific.
I think I'm fine with Jason as Baby New Year. I think that works.
Hell yeah, dude.
February,
I love Casey as Father Christmas.
I love Casey as Father Christmas. I think Greg Graff is February because it's Valentine's. You can't help but love Greg Graff.
I agree completely.
Great. I love that.
I think I'm March. We'll just call me March. April.
Can Dustin be spring. July because he's so sweltering?
Dustin can be July. I mean, let's just assign Sean October just because. I mean, he's Mr. October. Let's just call that. Steven Evans, I think, is November just because. I mean, he shows up in match play so well. I think he's Mr. November. Micah, I think Micah, I think, is April. You know what? Micah has to be March because he's got the Irish. He's got all that. So I'll be April. Just because I'm April.
I can't get the picture of Rick Hoynesy out of my head.
I think that's a perfect one. I was thinking the same thing too.
At Kohler, just playing the Irish, where he's sitting down on that green. That could go on any month right there.
That can go on.
We'll put him on the cover.
That's
I love it.
That is
Ricky Ho on our calendar cover. Perfect.
I think that's great.
I want Sean, but he's so tall you just don't get his head in the picture.
No, when you fold it down, he's both pages.
Oh, both? Yeah, he's transposed like watermarked over the calendar at the bottom.
Yeah.
I love it. Now we're in the design phase. This is great.
I want.
All right, let's shelve that for now.
This is.
I already have the Speedo I'm gonna wear.
Oh, okay. So we're going that way. Okay.
Shout out Julio's Thongs for Men.
I love it.
Sponsor.
It's a medium Speedo, maximum banana hammock.
I will let you know. I think we can get you the pasties on Amazon. I think.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out. I believe this is still Chris Espinoza.
Yeah.
He didn't clarify that.
He
didn't
I
clarify
agree.
that.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Who is that?
I think he would vote no in the Facebook poll about the calendar.
Yes, I agree, Chris. I agree.
There is a unique market for it, and if
But
someone's
Travis,
gonna find
you got on just in time.
The unique
we
market
are
appears to
about
only be Morgan.
Well, let's jump into we've fallen off track. Usually, and everyone out there, I apologize. I have taken on more of the Travis persona than I anticipated. I fell off track hard.
Oh shit!
Now that Travis is here, I'm finding me again, and I'm getting us back on track. So let's.
Oh no, keep going. Let's keep going. That's great. It is the off-script banter that's great.
Can you respond to this comment here, Mr. Casey? Can I get an official statement?
Yes. So I have retired after this last weekend's display. I have retired the so-and-so called greatest putter on tour.
Oh my goodness.
Mr.
This
Chris
is breaking news. This is breaking news.
What? Special news alert from the tour.
Yes, Chris Espinoza, greatest putter on tour.
I'll tell you what, I was watching the show on the shuttle bus back to the hotel here, and y'all were talking about the horse race, and that was one of the best horse races I've ever seen. It was so much fun, and Chris Espinoza was dropping bombs. Everybody birdied the first hole. I mean, good Lord.
I mean, I lost $1 because I bet Chris Espinoza a 3-putt from like 40 feet on 18, and he didn't. So maybe he is. And the odds
skyrocketed into your favor after the first putt, and he makes the 15-footer up the hill.
Yeah,
and he proceeded to take that putting into the horse race because holy. I mean,
but we haven't announced.
We haven't gotten there yet. We are gonna get to it. So let's talk about end of the season. We talked about sitting there, the general experience of waiting for the tablecloths to come down to announce our winners. And let's talk a little bit about that. And I also want to just give a shout out to Dustin. You trying to sync up, pulling down the paper with Travis was probably one of the funniest things I'd seen because you beat him out by about 2
I was trying to time it.
And everyone's just I
have no idea.
I'm sitting there with Micah and I'm just like, does he not? Travis goes and says it and everyone's like, we've known this for like 3 seconds.
Oh, I have no idea. I'm just talking to the camera, right?
Fantastic.
And I have no idea what's going on behind me.
Here's the thing, too. Not only am I trying to just rip those papers off,
trying not to ruin the whole thing.
Scoreboard up on the wall, right? Because that scoreboard could have easily come down with the names as I pull off each flap.
Yeah, that is a difficult task. Nobody watching that presentation knew how difficult of a task that was.
It was tricky. So I do want to talk about our top 10 and talk about our horse race contestants. But first, I think this is the picture I want to show. I made a graphic. I don't think it does nearly as much justice as this picture right here.
I love that photo.
Yeah, it's good.
It is such a great photo. let's kind of run through it real quick. Finishing up the season. Again, congrats to all the players who made it to the playoffs. Congrats to every player who played. And a big shout out to those who finished in the top 10, which is statistically it's pretty tough to do. And we've got a lot of players on there that started even pretty low in the point standings to get to that spot, which speaks to the effort, the amount of work, and really some great golf over 4 different days. So in 10th place, we had David Thomas finishing in 10th place, phenomenal. That put him into a spot going into the horse race. We'll dive into that a little bit more. Tyler Cook coming in 9th. Steve Roberts showing up big over the both weekends, finishing in 8th.
He played great at Almost Basin. Steve Roberts played great at Almost.
He really did. Trevor Bailey, I believe Trevor Bailey finishing in 7th, went into the playoffs with no points.
Correct. Same as Tyler Cook.
That's accurate.
Same as Tyler Cook. Absolutely huge. Finishing in 6th place, Morgan Graff, our first female player to ever make the South Texas Match Play team. Absolutely phenomenal. Morgan really got into golf this past year. And no one has hit more golf balls at San Pedro. No one has put in more time on their game than Morgan Graff. I think that's pretty much a.
I think Morgan has hit more range balls than everybody on that list combined.
I would honestly argue that. Finishing in 5th, Jason Sandoval.
He played some stellar golf that weekend.
Good golf. Just
down the stretch,
one under on Saturday and 2 under on Sunday. It was incredible.
Really fun to watch. He always figures out a way to be there at the end. The team is important, and the team is the goal, right? And it's can you rise to the occasion on the final weekend, and 3 under on the final weekend to shoot up the leaderboard onto the team there is Sando's goal, and congratulations to him for sure.
I mean, it just absolutely stellar golf by him. Finishing in 4th place, Trace Davis. Again, Trace,
another player that started with 0.
Another player with 0 points. We all know he's a really good golfer. It's not an easy thing to show up with 0 points. And I know we had talked about it previously. People with 0 points, 1 or 2 points have made the team. 4 people this year started out at 0, and they just played hard, and this is where they end up. Finishing in 3rd, Willie Nichols. Willie's been consistent all year long, made the team already going into the playoffs. Just continued to play stellar golf, and big shout out to him. 2nd place, the man who just in 4 rounds of golf, the top 2 people on this list are 2 people that if you got to play them in 4 rounds of golf, they're going to be pretty damn tough to beat. Steven Evans finishing 2nd place. Big shout out to Steve.
Before you get to the final here, I want to make a point. You look at Steve Evans' final points there, it's 788 points and change. And then you look at 10th place David Thomas, 695.75. So that difference there is less than 9th place net on the final day. That's 1 stroke, probably.
Yeah, that's 1 stroke. Yeah.
What is the difference between 6th and 10th?
Well, and we talked.
That's 1 place. That's 1 place on the final day.
And that's we were talking about it. We were talking about it before the show because you look at those guys who started out with 0 points. Look at Trevor Bailey. Look at Tyler Cook. Look at David Thomas. Some of these guys either didn't come in with a lot of points, or some of these guys, 4 of them won on Saturday. 4 of them finished first in the flight on Saturday.
There were a lot. So that happened at Almost Basin on the Sunday, too. Normally, that's the time where the bell curve widens, right? And it really shrank. Guys on the bottom of the leaderboard, or bottom of the points list, winning playoff rounds really changes the game. Like going from Almost Basin to Brack, the top 10 completely changed except for those 2 guys on the top. But I have a question. Can somebody talk about how you start the playoffs with points and how you start the playoffs with 0 points? What's the difference there? That's a great question for Casey if he wants to take that one.
Yeah, I can take that. So for those that don't,
I just want everybody to know, like, how do you start with 0 points?
I'll explain how you earn points and the points that you earn. So those of you that don't know, we host 2 different seasons. We do a spring season, we do a summer season, and those seasons consist of anywhere between 8 and 10 or 12 events. Each season, every single tournament, you're going to earn points based off your placement. And your placement is earned either on your gross score or your handicap score. So at the end of each season, you're going to have a placement. Hopefully, your goal is to try to take the top 50. Okay. So now when we get into the playoffs, yep. No, okay. I thought you were telling me to hold up for a sec.
No.
When we get into the playoffs, let's say. We'll go with player A. Let's say player A finishes 10th place in both seasons. The way to calculate your starting position in points is you want to take 51 minus your placement, and that's going to be your starting points for the playoffs. Now, some of us, and this happens all the time, we usually have between 20 and 30 players every year that duplicate into the top 50. So what we like to do is we like to encourage that, top 50 both seasons, because at the end when we start the playoffs, you're going to get a bonus. So let's continue with my example. Player A finishes 10th. Player A finishes 10th. We do 51 minus 10. That's 41 playoff points starting, plus a 41 playoff points starting, plus the bonus of 25 additional points because you top 50'd in both seasons. And now, see, 41 is 82 plus 25 is 107. So that 107, if you were following along from the beginning of the playoffs, you may have noticed some people starting with points and some starting with 0. Now, let's get to why some of those players started with 0. So when we get into the summer season, we have, like I said earlier, anywhere between 20 and 30 players that repeat top 50. So what we do is we take the overlaps. Essentially, we take place number 51 down to place 79, 80, and those overlaps get I guess you could say, an invite or a bid to the playoffs. But since they didn't top 50, they're not getting any points. They're not getting any points or bonus points for that. They just get the invite to the playoffs, and those players start with 0. And a lot of what we get every year is we get a lot of questions of, I'm starting the playoffs with 0. This guy's starting with 100. Do I even have a chance? Well, prior to this year, we had 2 players qualify for the team, and now after this year, add 3 more. So
yeah, that's in 8 years. That's in 8 years. 2 in 8 years.
Right, and we had 3 this year.
And again, we talked about it earlier. It speaks to the caliber of golfer that's playing on tour now, and in that you can.
And we just had more people with 0 points play this year, right? Yeah. We had 93 people out of 100 participate in round 1. That's the largest playoff field we've ever had. There were just more zeros, and the zeros had a great day on Sunday at Olmos Basin, and 3 of them carried that trend to Brackenridge Park, and it just goes to show and reiterate what Casey said there. If you get that invite email, you are never out of it.
That's right. I mean, you got to come and play. Just like some of these guys did.
You have to win. Yeah, top threes with 0.
I mean, it's like what I said.
You got to win one of the 3 final rounds for sure.
Right. And I kind of go back to what I said a couple weeks before the playoffs. Try to do that top 5, top 4, top 3, top 2, all the way through, and that's kind of what you have to do.
Yep.
And some of those zeros set themselves up on Saturday. With Trevor Bailey, champ flight, shot 66, won his flight.
Yeah, it's a win.
Tyler Cook won first flight, 72. That's a win. David Thomas, first flight net 63. That's a win. So Those and David Thomas didn't start with 0. Don't get me wrong, but I just wanted to point that out because he's on the top 10 list there. But yeah, so you got to come and play.
And yeah, I mean, absolutely. And now let's talk about, again. Let's pull this picture up.
There we go. Yeah, let's talk about those two guys at the top.
Again, Steven Evans, again, consistent golfer. Has a great season every year. The guy is a rock star, and I know Travis has said it. Steven Evans in 4 rounds is a tough guy to beat, and him coming in a good position, and just being the consistent golfer that he is. Steven Evans finishing 2nd place. Big shout out to Steven Evans making the team again. Really excited for him, and rounding out the top 10. No one who deserves it more. No one who has played better golf and on the most consistent level possible, being Sean Vidal, our tour champion of 2022. Absolutely huge shout out to him.
Yeah, congratulations.
What a guy.
You can see it in the
so
picture.
well deserved.
You can see it in the picture, but it's one of those things. I don't think unless you're there, you realize, and you won't see it, but he had tears. Laura had tears. It was, the work that they put in as a team throughout the season to not only be involved as ambassadors and supporting that, but then to also be playing, being that level of engaged, all that effort, and really something he's wanted for forever to finally come to fruition is just it is, unless you were there, you'll never really understand the emotions that were there that day.
I agree. Tour champion Vidal has a real cool ring to it, and it is the pinnacle with another Player of the Year.
Yep.
With another Player of the Year recognition to add to his resume as well, and I think we're going to have to talk about those resumes in spring, and I think Sean's got some big line items added to it. And to your point, MD, Laura and Sean are the heart of the ambassadors. They are the first ones there. Stay to the end. Laura brings snacks. She's ambassador mom, cookie sponsor, president and leader of the Cookie Mafia, and keep Sean in line on the golf course. And then Sean goes out and shoots under par after all of that ambassador work. And then the minute he's done shooting under par, he's helping 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th flights during the regular season, not the playoffs, but during the regular season, get their rounds done around the golf courses on the back 9, marshalling out there for their ambassadorship. So awesome job. Congratulations, Sean. So well deserved and well earned. Amazing.
That makes
Absolutely.
team number 8.
8
for Sean.
8 teams. Sean has missed 1 team. This will be the 8th team for Sean. And I wanted
2015.
Yeah. 2015 was the year?
Yep.
Was that the first year at Wildcat? Is that correct?
That wasn't Wildcat. It was the.
Oh, that's here.
No.
That was here.
No. That was the course that got washed out.
Oh, that was the first year in Houston. That was River
Correct.
Ridge. That was River Ridge. Doug Calkins was on that team. Alan McFarland was on that team.
Yes.
That was another Smurf blue pants year for us. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
I was into that blue.
Yeah.
Well, again, big shout out to our top 10 finishers. Amazing golf, just consistent golf all year long. And for the guys who didn't get to play in as many events, but still were able to get on to or into the playoffs. They played stellar golf. And so big shout out to them as well. Let's talk a little bit about the horse race. So for you guys out there, we'll explain the horse race to you just so you understand it. We do have the videos part 1 and part 2 of the horse race up on Facebook. If you haven't checked it out yet, go check it out. If not for anything, just to listen to DH commentate.
I know. I was just going to say the same thing. Wow, rockstar commentary.
Amazing.
I even saw some comments. I even saw some comments on the Facebook page. Hey, turned off the NFL because Dustin was just way better announcing. I mean, it was
great. That's great.
Listen, I
Love
was right
it.
there with him. There was times where instead of watching that guy swing, I was looking at like this, and I'm like, dang, Dustin.
Dustin found his calling.
So
Hey, let's both retire. I'll hold the camera. You can talk.
There you go. Well, let's talk about the horse race. Let's DH. Can you talk us through? Or I don't know who wants to do it, but let's
Yeah,
explain
listen,
the horse race to
I'll
everyone out there
start it
first.
off. I'll talk about number one if I could. I mean, number one, what a way to start a horse race, right? I mean,
let's talk about what the horse race is, like how we get to that point and what it is.
Can you put up the picture with Sean one more time?
Yes, 100%.
So this is a really cool graphic, and it explains a little bit. Do you see the red asterisks next to the numbers? That is the top 7 not on the team already in the final point standings. So that is the auto qualifying spot to the South Texas Match Play Challenge team. And then you see down there in 10th spot, David Thomas's asterisk is blue because he's in the horse race. So in this particular case, 10, 11, 12, and 14 in the final point standings made the horse race this year.
Correct.
Thanks, MD, for putting that back up there. I just wanted to show that correlation. So we call it the first 4 out, right? And Sean Sexton was in that first 4, but he was already on the team, so it went down 1 more place. And those final places are also on the Facebook page, and you can see that kind of highlighted by color code there to see who was in the horse race. And then I'll turn it back over to MD there to say who was participating, and then we'll get it to Dustin and hole number 1, because number 1 was legit.
Yeah. So after everything's said and done, David Thomas obviously in the horse race, blue asterisk. We saw that. Sean Sexton, having already made the team, pushed us to our next player. Next in was Dustin Weldon, who has been there before, played in the horse race and had success there.
And came out of the horse race. He won a horse race.
Yeah. Next in line for that was Joey Gonzalez. Joey started with 0 points in the playoffs. He started with 0, made his way into the horse race.
There's another guy at the end with 0 in the mix right up to the end, going to extras.
Yep, and then rounding out our 4 in the horse race was Chris Espinoza, who's been playing stellar golf. And I mean,
watching tonight, really, Chris Espinoza.
Yep, shout out. This is Chris Espinoza. So it was 4 really good golfers. It meant we were all going to get to see some really good golf. And I think everyone who stayed around to watch, I think everyone always enjoys watching. But it was a really fun group because everyone in that group was really, really good, and there was going to be some cool shots.
And I want to make another point. Go ahead, Trav.
I was going to say, normally for me, right, I am never a competitor, right? So I always have this unique view from kind of off to the side where it's like, oh, hey, this is going to be great. And normally, I mean, there were 50 people there on the first tee box, and 4 golfers battling for 1 spot normally produces some BS golf there. On the first tee. I mean, somebody normally hits the tree and goes backwards. Somebody normally tops one. I mean, there's a lot of nerves going on right there. And, I mean, it just really wasn't the case. I'm sorry, Casey. Go ahead.
No. I just wanted to point out that with the exception of the later part of the year, I believe Chris Espinoza probably started in first flight, right? And I know his handicap got better and he played the later end of the year in champ flight, but that horse race was represented by, I mean, if you count Chris,
2 from each flight.
Yep.
I think even Joey is on that fence where he's either in second or third based off. What I'm saying is there was good representation in that horse race.
Yeah, there was a champ flighter, Dustin, a first flighter, Chris, a second flighter, David Thomas, and a third flighter, Joey Gonzalez. I mean, that is exactly the way the point standings are designed to work. It's awesome. Great comment, Casey.
So I don't want to dive super deep into the horse race. I think, to be honest, you just need to go watch it. I think you need to just hear DH. But let's just do a quick kind of highlight of it in general and how that kind of went. DH
and don't forget, that's right. It's a net horse race, right? So it's net score. It's not gross. So start out right out the gates. These guys mentioned it. It was great golf. I mean, we have 4 birdies on number 1. Chris Espinosa gets up first putter, downhill putt, 18 feet, buries it. Little does he know, three more birdies follow him. He needed that putt to go to number 2. I mean,
he needed that putt not to be eliminated.
He
oh my
needed
goodness.
that 18-footer not to be eliminated on number 1.
And Joey G had a putt to win the whole thing.
Number 2, Joey G had a putt. It was really, really good golf. But there were no eliminations on number 1. We go right to number 2. Unfortunately, we have to lose some golfers at some point. And on number 2, we lost Joey Gonzalez and Chris Espinosa on number 2 bogeys to pars with Weldon and David Thomas. So those were our first cuts in the horse race.
And let's
Chris
also
Espinosa did Joey G dirty, dude.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Chris Espinosa making that 20-footer. Yeah.
Chris, I mean, I was sitting there and I was like, okay, yeah, that's not good for Chris. And then as soon as he hit that 20-footer coming back like it was ice cold, I was like, oh, that screws Joey.
Yes. So that putt. So I want everybody to think of a horse race as reverse sudden death. It is not about winning. It's about not losing. So if 4 golfers have a 3, 4, 5, and 6, the 6 is eliminated, and the 3, 4, and 5 advance to the next hole because it's a horse race, not sudden death. It's about not losing, right? And when he made that putt, essentially, that putt was eliminating Joey.
Yeah, because he was going to be eliminated no matter what once he missed the par.
Yep.
But, I mean, statistics would tell you that he was going to 2-putt the 20-footer coming up the slopey hill, and Joey was going to scare it by.
Tap in for 4 and move on to number 3. Yep.
Yeah, just buried it. And I was like, I think I said it on the video. I was like, I think that eliminated Joey.
And you know what? It was a confident stroke. It was center cut, and he kind of stepped it in a little bit.
Right? Yeah.
And that's right when Casey leaned over and said, "Man, Chris Espinosa is the best player on tour."
and in Chris's defense, he absolutely had to try and make it. Joey wasn't a gimme. Joey could have definitely 3-putt, and then he would have survived, right? So, I mean, you always want to make the best score you can. But the statistics would have showed you that Joey was going to skirt by, and then statistics afterwards would have said Joey just got screwed. But there was always a chance that Chris could have survived.
Yep.
So David Thomas and Dustin Weldon parred number 2. So they are both 1 under in the horse race, moving to number 3 tee box. Ready to play that par 5, and I'll kick it back over to DH.
Yeah, no, and the guys both hit stellar drives on number 3. David Thomas hit great drives on every hole, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Every drive
baby
really
cut.
Well.
It's like 50
right
people wasn't
middle.
even following him.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, he was swinging free. It was awesome. I mean, it was confident golf. And then you got Weldon stepping up, hitting high bombs. They both hit a little bit different approach in their second shot. Weldon goes for the green. David Thomas lays up. They play their own games. Everyone has their own game. Weldon had a putt there to close it out on 3, and he missed it for birdie. David Thomas had to get up there and make a 3.5 footer, maybe 4.
Yeah,
but you know what?
It was probably a knee knocker for everybody sitting here, but not for David.
Well, I want to give a big shot. I mean,
listen, it was good for me for sure.
Weldon's second shot,
or he's leaving right now.
I don't think Dustin's second shot out of that bunker got enough credit for as good a shot as it was. That shot was on
the second shot on number 3.
Out of that bunker, to put it up at the green that close from where he was and had to move the ball. That was it was a very gutsy shot, and he executed it just so good. It was so good.
Hey! Don't ruin all the spoilers. Let him go watch it. Let him go watch it.
Well, I mean,
you want to tease it right there? We should tease it right there and end it. Go watch the ending. Go watch the last hole.
And that's the end.
Yeah, we won't. There you go. We will leave it at that and say, go watch it. Again, even if you're not even that interested, go watch it for Dustin. If you think this is good,
it for Dustin.
Dustin's the Tony Romo of golf announcing.
Yeah, I mean, it was great.
I loved it.
It did feel natural.
It felt right. But I mean, a great end to the weekend. The team was, again, we're not going to say who won. I think let's just make you go watch it. Suffice to say, someone did win, someone did lose. It was a good round, and we have a South Texas match play team. It is a group of great golfers. It's a group of great people. The meeting, I think Travis will tell you, went really, really well. And I think there's a lot of good energy in that room. And I think everyone's just hungry for a win. I think this is as good a team as it can be.
This is a fun transition for me because everybody knows that I really, really, really try to play the non-biased commissioner director throughout the year. And this is the time where it's like, damn, I hate losing. Let's go. Let's formulate the best plan we can. Let's practice our butts off, and let's use our camaraderie to keep this big-ass trophy in San Antonio and win at Almost Basin for the first time. Like, it's so important. And the team, the configuration of the team going around the room is awesome. Fun-loving guys and gal, and played the best golf down the stretch, and they earned their place into the room. And it's just a special time. I think it's so cool to put on a uniform and represent golf in your city and represent the organization that you participate in. And I love that meeting, and I love that presentation, and I love the fact that in 2 Tuesdays from now, not next week Tuesday, but the Tuesday after, we'll be releasing pairings and matches. And talking about all of that, who's coming up, who do we think is going to win, and a little bit of why we put who where. I think that's really, really fun, the analytics behind that.
I've already started the trend lines and the pairings, and it's already in a workbook. It's a super fun time for me now that for the last couple years, Jason's been on board, and the advanced analytics are crazy. I get pamphlets with scoring trends, with handicap trends, with who played good on the closing stretches of Almost Basin, who played good on the front nine. And it just provides so much more data for me to make these pods and these matches and then turn them back over to the assistant captains and watch them work in a match play setting. It's so much fun.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll be talking a lot more about South Texas match play over the next couple of weeks leading up to it. We'll have plenty of videos. We're going to have a lot of pictures. It's going to be a really exciting time. It's a really good time. And with the end result being we get to go play against Houston's team, and hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of people out there coming out to watch and being involved. Again, if you don't get to do the horse race, if you don't get to watch that, if you don't get to kind of get involved, or if you don't normally try to get out to these things, well worth your time. It's going to be a lot of great golf. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come cheer on the tour that you're a part of.
Absolutely. Family and spectators welcome, of course, respectfully. There's not going to be ropes set up or anything like that. So spectators and family on the cart path following along. I believe there'll be a food truck there on Saturday in the afternoon, so there could be some food options for spectators as well. And the more people there cheering our team on, the better we are going to perform. And we want to share that with the family and friends because that's such a big part of the regular season and the playoffs is the time commitment for the golfer, but also the time commitment that the family gives up time with that golfer. So absolutely, spectators encouraged and welcome. Absolutely.
Awesome. And guys, we'll be talking more about that as it goes. But for right now, I think we covered everything we needed to really cover tonight. I'm super excited. I think it was such a great end of the season and such a great kickoff into postseason South Texas match play. A lot of good stuff there. Lots to be talking about. We're going to get the calendar out for the 2023 season. Everyone start planning and kind of building out your life around that. I know I have already begun.
I could say right now the first event is January 8th.
And January that is
Monster Day.
January 8th, Monster Day. And Jason, can you forecast when we're going to have registration open for that?
Registration will be open by or on December 1st.
Perfect.
You heard it here, folks, from the man himself.
December 1st.
Bird says it. It's gotta be true.
And guys,
right.
Again,
fact checked and verified by Jay Bird himself.
2023 season's going to come up fast. The off season is a very short time period in our grand scheme of our world. Enjoy
especially
the
if you're on the
holidays,
team
time with your family, but especially if you're on the team, you get about a month break. But we've got all sorts of other stuff going on in our lives. But, keep in mind the tour is just ready to come right back. We're ready to get right back to work. I think 2023 is going to be a super exciting season. I think we'll talk more about that towards the end of the year, though. I don't want to jump too far into it.
You're in better.
But it's a lot of stuff. Super excited. Let's take it around the horn real quick. Let's start off with Casey. Thoughts? What are you most excited for South Texas?
Man, I think I'm just kind of ready to get involved with it and get going with it. I want to meet these rookies. I already know a lot of the veterans that are on the team, and I want to meet these rookies. I want to talk to them. I want to talk strategies. I want to figure out their game, what they need help with, any advice I can give, anything like that. So bring it on, Houston. Let's go.
Absolutely. Dustin, Hassan playing in what is this, your fourth, fifth? Sixth. I apologize. I'm an ignorant.
Damn.
I'll just get off now.
God.
Holy 5 in a row. But
Hold on, let me check my
no Sean Vidal.
Yep,
but
that's number 6.
Not bad.
Is he second? Is that second now to Sean's 8?
He ties me.
7.
Okay.
He
ties me.
Okay, so it's 866. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure we establish that in the Hall of Fame.
Hall of
Fame,
your thoughts,
baby.
DH, thoughts on playoffs, thoughts on South Texas. What are you looking forward to there?
I think the playoffs were great, right? I always love the playoffs. They were phenomenal. Travis did another great job hosting 4 phenomenal rounds of the playoffs, regular season aside. I mean, just great job. But I love this time. I'm super excited to get on Ole Miss for this event. I think that's really cool. We've got a good mix of rookies and veterans, which I think is going to play well for us. Travis said earlier, the camaraderie of the tour, and I think that really is what sets us apart. And so this is kind of a 2-week period or 4-week stretch, 3-week stretch between practice rounds, pod challenges, playing where, we're not playing against each other week in and week out. I mean, we're playing with each other, and we're encouraged. Not that we're not encouraging other these off weeks, but it's a little bit different. So I love this time of year. I mean, this is what we play for all year long, and I'm glad it's here.
Spoken like a man who's been on the team
I
6
love
times.
I love
Jason
that.
Bird. Jason Bird, let's get your thoughts.
I want to paint a picture. So,
Van Gogh.
You ever
more than 3 words?
I am instantly engaged.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Are you ever on the golf course, just playing casual round, practicing maybe 1 or 2, 3 balls here or there, like maybe you're practicing bump and runs versus a flop shot, or like you're trying to figure out your game basically, and you're meandering around the golf course and you finally discover something you've never seen before, and you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. Well, that happened to me the other day.
Oh, terrific.
I'm out there just pissing around the golf course and come up to this tee box and hit my tee shot and blew it like 80 yards in the woods, whatever. And I looked down, and what did I find? But an Eiffel Tower.
So you're moving to France.
Has anyone ever seen an Eiffel Tower golf tee before?
Never. No. Look at that.
Never.
I don't think I could play with someone who would use that.
So I discovered this, and it inspired me to see if there are other famous buildings that had golf tees made after it.
Perfect. I knew it was going to segue somewhere. I love it. The Leaning Tower of Pisa.
There's no Leaning Tower of Pisa. I couldn't find one, at least. I couldn't find one for the Burj Khalifa or anything like that. But I did find them for the Empire State Building. So I think I'm going to order some. I think my new thing is making golf tees out of famous buildings. Because
let's get a 3D printer and let's
look at that.
How about Tower of America's bird? Start there.
Yeah, we could do that.
There's Big Ben in England, right?
You could get one. You could get one of the Alamo. That could be like for your irons.
So, is this a tee of the Eiffel Tower in Paris or the one in Las Vegas? How can I tell?
I don't know.
That's a really strong question.
When you
researched it, did it specify?
I leave our viewers to just chew on that and let me know.
Let's think.
I was trying to paint a picture with your description, and this is all I got.
I love it. It's so great.
Let's go to Travis. Travis, what do you got?
Well, first of all, whirlwind playoffs, whirlwind end of the season for me and the rest of the ambassadors and my family. We finished round 3 and round 4 of the playoffs, had our South Texas Match Play Challenge first team meeting, and myself and my family immediately jumped on a plane at 5 a.m. the next morning and flew to Orlando. So whirlwind. I haven't got a chance to send emails out to anybody yet or anything like that. So those are coming, guys. But I wanted to take this time to talk about the course conditions that the tour had in the playoffs. I thought Olmos Basin was phenomenal on Saturday and Sunday last week. And believe it or not, Brackenridge Park was better than phenomenal. I thought those greens at Brackenridge Park were the best greens, the best putting surfaces that we had all year long. Shout out to Mick Garza and Robert Cano, the superintendents at both facilities. Fantastic course preparation, fantastic communication. Guys, thank you so much. We couldn't do it without you. And I thought they made the course more challenging from Saturday to Sunday, both weekends. I thought the course got harder both weekends from Saturday to Sunday. So that was amazing. Shout out to Sean Vidal. Shout out to Stephen Evans, making that battle dramatic down the stretch. Fun fact, Stephen Evans told us in the South Texas Match Play Challenge meeting that his father bought a plane ticket from Great Britain over the summer and said, I'm going to come watch you play on the team. And Stephen was like, dang, I better make the team. I thought that was a great story. But shout out to Sean Vidal, Player of the Year. Tour champion Sean Vidal has an extra special ring to it. And then I'm going to close my segment with special shout out and thanks to Elevated Logistics and Rick Hoinsey and Goosehead Insurance and Sean Sexton. What they do for this event, the South Texas Match Play Challenge, is just it's top notch. And again, another year on tour. The South Texas Match Play Challenge team has a $0 to the player budget, including uniforms and golf bags. Something about getting a logoed bag with your name on it for the event is just so cool. So thank you so much, Sean Sexton and Rick Hoynesy with Elevated Logistics and Goose Insurance. You guys rock. Thank you so much. We couldn't do it without you. Course conditions were great. The playing down the stretch was great. Congratulations to the top 10 for making the team down the stretch there. Go watch the videos of the horse race. Phenomenal golf, phenomenal camera work, phenomenal commentary. Great job, guys, on the podcast. I will do my best to chime in when I can here and there, but I'm going to go hang out for the rest of the night here at Disney World. You guys have a great evening.
Oh, yeah. Go enjoy that.
Have
Later,
a good
Commish.
night, my friend. Well, guys, that brings it to me. I want to give a big shout out again to our top 10. Big shout out to Sean Vidal. Congrats. Tour Champion Player of the Year. Huge. Absolutely phenomenal. Want to give a shout out to Travis Salkowski, our commissioner, the man who never sleeps, never stops working. The man thinks and lives and dreams on tour at all times. Shout out to the ambassadors. We've got a bunch of ambassadors we've got some ambassadors on the team. We've got ambassadors that are going to be on the bag for their daughter. The work that you guys do all season certainly does not go unnoticed, and a lot of it allows Travis to be able to be Travis, which makes the tour what it is. I'm excited. South Texas Match Play is going to be great. Looking forward to bringing you guys into that world, seeing more of what's going on, and seeing you there on the 11th and 12th as we take on Houston and kick some ass. So, guys, thank you so much for tonight. Everyone out there, thank you for working with us, getting on YouTube. Click, like, subscribe on that as well. I need some more followers there. And thank you, everyone. Everyone have a good night.
Like and subscribe so MD can be a professional influencer.
Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night, guys.